proud of my identity. This was the very first lesson you taught me. I grew up learning and embracing my Chinese culture and values, even though I spent the majority of my life living in the West. And although I look more white than Chinese, you made sure that I had a Chinese first name, Wan-Yi, or in Chinese pronounced as Yun-Yi, to complement my very English surname, Sweeting. You've always pointed out that there was never a need for me to have a Western name to fit in the Western world or anywhere really. Like most Chinese people feel like they need to when assimilating in the West. And instead you made me realize that other people had to learn to say my name. As a teenager, I used to cringe at the thought of introducing myself to strangers because no one could pronounce my name correctly, or they would just simply make fun of me. But now I pride myself in having a very unique first name. It's definitely a great conversation starter. You also made sure that I grew up learning Cantonese and Mandarin. And I thought that was just our special mother and daughter secret language that no one else in the world understood. But clearly I was wrong. There are billions of other Chinese people out there who speak this language. But what I was most proud of was that I was the only grandchild who could converse with my grandparents in our mother tongue. The persistence of making sure I responded to you in Chinese growing up really paid off, and I can't thank you enough for blessing me with my multilingual abilities. Most importantly, every day, you showed me what it means to be proud of who I am and to continue embracing my roots. Lesson number 2. I thank you for showing me what hard work really means. At the age of 16, you became the breadwinner of your family of 6 because your father's family business went under. And you took up 3 working jobs while still studying in high school to help feed your siblings and parents. You had a pretty comfortable life until Gong Gong, my grandfather's bankruptcy, happened. But you didn't complain or let that affect you. Instead, you just kept your head down and worked hard every single day to help pay the bills. You taught me not to be so prideful when it comes to choosing a job. If there's a need to work 3 jobs to pay the bills, even if it means picking up boxes at a grocery store, then that should be the attitude to have, especially when it comes to supporting your family. You even continued to pay your parents until their dying days, when there wasn't really a need to anymore. But you did that out of loyalty, respect, and love for your parents. It also speaks to you embracing your Chinese values, which I strive to uphold and continue to do so as well. One day I'll be able to afford an all paid for vacation for both you and Daddy. It's coming. You are the epitome of hard work and persistence. And you continue to work really hard now from running your own travel business, even if the whole world is against you and we're going through this time where travel isn't the best business to be running right now. But you're not one to look forward to retirement early. You're one to thrive and constantly find purpose in your work, which is exactly how I want to be as well. Now, the third lesson, which I like to share with all of you, is your selflessness and generosity. If I asked most of your close family and friends to describe you, without a doubt, they would say your compassion for others is what sets you apart. I have never met anyone as selfless as you, because you are always so generous, so loving with your presence, your love, your time, and sometimes the money that you offer as well. You always think about everyone around you and hardly ever think about your own needs first. You first taught me that when you took in Ling Ling. Ling Ling is my mentally disabled cousin. She's the same age as me, but she has a mental age of a 3 or 4-year-old. But you took her in as if she was your own. You raised her like you raised me. No one else in the family took her in, but you did. And you continue to take care of her by showering her with so much love and compassion. You always taught me that charity work always begins at home first. There are so many other occasions where you've demonstrated the side of you. For instance, you paid for our former caretaker's college tuition because they couldn't afford it for their own child, and they never asked for your help, but you just gave it to them. You also went out of your way to patch things up between my half sister and my father when they weren't getting along, even though even though my half sister is not your biggest fan. But most of all, you've showed me that giving someone your time is way more important than giving them any type of gifts. And that started with me. Even though I left home at the age of 11, you were always a phone call away, no matter how busy you were at work, how stressed you were at home, how chaotic things may have been in your life. You always had time for me. And I used to call you 3, 4 times a day, even for the most mundane things like, what should I wear today? And so was talking behind my back. And I would just call you for help and guidance, and you were always there for me. You dropped everything just to be there for me, and that meant the whole world to me. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done and for everything you've taught me over the years and for all of the love you've given me. And I really couldn't imagine a world without you and without your love. Love, your only child, Dong Dong, which is my Chinese nickname. Madam Toastmaster and fellow members, as you can see, my mother and I have a very strong bond. And even though we haven't lived together for more than 15 years, we still feel very close to each other, to the point where my dad calls us symbiotic twins. What I'd like for us to all do right now is to raise our teas in our hands, cause a virtual hullabaloo by giving a toast to all of our beloved mothers out there, because life is short and we should treat every single day like Mother's Day. So let's say this together. Dear Mama, I love you and thank you. Cheers.